Good afternoon, baseball fans. Welcome to another ESTV3 sports presentation. I'm Diego Sanchez, and tonight, or this afternoon, I should say, from Stevenson Field, varsity baseball, as the Eagles are hosting the Cardinals of Lawndale. There you saw the choir who just sang the national anthem coming off the field. And there you have today's starting pitcher for the Eagles, Nigel Nootbaar, the right-hander. Coming into this game, 1-1 is his record. He's got 3 saves. He's got a pretty good ERA down in the low 2s. I don't have exact up-to-date stats, but I know he's down in the low 2s, 2.19 as of a few days ago. So Eagles have a very good pitcher going today. And Lawndale is going to throw out pitcher by the name of Danny Villegas. These two teams met a couple of days ago. Eagles totally dominating, and they won that game 15-0. So this is a game certainly that the Eagles expect to win. They come into this game with an overall record of 11-12, and they are 2-3 in the Pioneer League. They're currently in 4th place, so it's certainly a game they want to win. So I'll give you quickly the rundown. Behind the plate for the Eagles, Kaz Cousins, nephew of head coach Craig Cousins. Eric Batty at first. Trent Mira is at second. Grant Palmer at short. David Bell is over at third. Out in the outfield, left to right, you've got Mike Pagan in left. Eric Gronhagen in center, and Zach Stone in right. And to lead it off, Chase Vangerwin for Lawndale. And the first pitch to him is fouled off. He attempted to bunt. He offered and just tipped it. Went foul, and I think it caught a piece of Cousins a little bit, so not a good start for Kaz Cousins behind the plate. I know it caught a piece of either him or the umpire. So 0-1 the count to Vangerwin, batting .269 according to the latest stats I have. And he does bunt this one, a little push bunt, but Nootbaar is all over it. And over to the first baseman, Batty. So an easy out there as Nootbaar was ready to field his position. And the bunt was a little too close to Nootbaar. And that'll bring up Stephen Rudolph, the second baseman, who has a pretty decent average according to the latest stats that I could pull off the internet, 362. The first pitch to him is a strike on the outside corner. He's got 11 RBIs, no home runs. Very little power on this Lawndale team from what I could gather. There's a breaking ball that misses, 1-1 to Rudolph. That one's inside, so 2-1 now. Nootbaar features fastball, curveball, changeup. Here's the 2-1. Swing and a miss, 2-2. Lawndale comes into this game 9-9, but they're 0-5 in Pioneer League play, so they're bringing up the rear in the league. There's a little soft liner right back to Nootbaar. He had no trouble handling that one. As he jammed, he got in Rudolph's kitchen there a little bit. So that'll bring up number 22, the center fielder, Narciso Aguilar, left-handed batter. Aguilar batting .351 with a 10 RBIs, no home runs. Nootbaar misses with his first pitch, 1-0. The outfielders are playing pretty shallow, even though the wind is blowing out, as is customary. There's a swing and a foul tip straight back, 1-1. That one's down low, 2-1. There's a line drive right at Grant Palmer, and he snares it. So a quick inning for the Eagles, for Lawndale, I should say. And at the end of 1/2 inning of play, it's the Cardinals nothing and the Eagles coming to bat. So we head now to the bottom of the first. Daniel Villegas on the mound.
Batting first for El Segundo.
For Lawndale.
Shortstop Grant Palmer.
Brian Gomez behind the plate. Vangerwin is at first. Rudolph is at second. Banuelos is at short. There's a first pitch way outside. Just a little outside. So ball one. Garcia is at third. Out in the outfield, I'll give you that just in a second after this pitch. The leadoff batter is Grant Palmer for the Eagles. Another pitch that's not close. You've got Aguilar in center, Alvarado in left, Aguilar in center, and Kamatani in right. 2-0 pitch. Hammered and deep. That is going way back, and it's going to be off the glove of the left fielder, Alvarado. And Palmer cruises into second with a double. Almost looked like he was going to have a chance to catch that, but he came up against that embankment, and I think that might have thrown him off a little bit. Anyway, we'll call it a double. You could call it an error if you were a real tough scorer, but we'll give Grant Palmer a double on that one. It was a well-hit ball. So
second for the Eagles, number 13, catcher Kaz Cousins.
Now we have Kaz Cousins batting with a runner on second, nobody out. Villegas, the pitcher for Lawndale, is diminutive of stature. There's a little ground ball that's going to move Palmer over to third, so a productive out for Cousins as the first baseman just took it himself. And that's going to bring up Nootbaar, the pitcher,
number 20,
with man on third, and there you have Palmer on third base, leading off of third base. There's a pitch again, way outside. It just looks like Villegas is just struggling here early on, as some of his pitches are not even in the same zip code as the plate. That one was, 2 feet outside. That one bounces. So Villegas early on just looks a little lost out there. 2-0 the count to Nootbaar. Another pitch that's about a foot outside. 3-0. I spoke with some of the Lawndale coaching staff before the game started. They said that Villegas had been their most consistent pitcher to date, but that he had a couple of rough outings recently. His record is not too bad according to what was on the internet, 5-3. There's another pitch, and this one just catches the outside corner, so 3-1 now to Nootbaar. 3.6 ERA, but allowing a lot of hits, 46 hits in 40 and a third innings pitched. There's a breaking ball, and that one's called a strike. Another breaking ball. This one's hammered up the middle, and it gets past the shortstop, who was playing a little tight. Maybe he would have had a better chance if he'd been playing a little deeper. And that's an RBI for Nootbaar. That ball snuck under the shortstop's glove. I mean, it could be argued he could have had that, but he did not.
Now batting for El Segundo, number 6, left fielder Mike Pagan.
And that'll bring up Mike Pagan. So the Eagles take the early lead here. And this is the type of game that could get out of hand quickly. As I mentioned, the Eagles beat Lawndale 15-0 just the other day. Pagan now pops one up out of play, 0-1. Let's see what kind of statistics Pagan had as of a couple of days ago. These are not exactly up to date, but he was batting .400. Pretty impressive. 10 RBIs, no home runs. There's another pitch that's about 1.5 feet outside. Runner on first, Nigel Newtbar. Run in for the Eagles. 1 out here in the bottom of the first as they lead it 1-0. There's a breaking ball, and that's going to be an easy stolen base for Newtbar, who picked the right pitch to go on there. As that was a slow breaking ball, and Newtbar was halfway down to first before the catcher even had the ball in his mitt. So 2-1, the count on Pagan. And he drives one into the gap in right center, and that's going to be gone. I thought might hit the fence, but Pagan drills it out of here, and it's a 2-run home run for Mike Pagan. And that's his first, according to the stats I have, which are not exactly up to date. So I'm not sure about that, but Mike Pagan drilled that one into the right center field gap, and it just got over the fence by a couple of feet and flew out of here. So 3-0 Eagles. And that'll bring up David Bell.
Number 12, third baseman David Bell.
Third baseman's got a very high average, 442, according to what I had off of the Max Preps website. He swings and misses at the first pitch. The 0-1 is a breaking ball swung on and missed. So 0-2. Fastball driven to right center again, and the right fielder is playing way too shallow with the wind blowing out, and it just goes over his head. So an easy double for David Bell. And the route is on here early in the first inning here.
Number 8, first baseman Eric Batty.
And that'll bring up Eric Batty. Batty, let's see what he was. 311, 0 home runs, 10 RBIs as of a few days ago. There's a pass ball. I should say a wild pitch. It bounced way in front of the plate. So that allows David Bell to move to third base. The wheel's coming off a little bit here. Still only 1 out. Man on third now. We've already had 3 runs score. And now Batty's got to be licking his chops because he's got an easy RBI out there. All he's got to do is just hit a slow ground ball to the right side and he'll pick it up. 1-1 the count to Batty. Another pitch in the dirt. So Villegas has been all over the place. Occasionally has gotten his breaking ball over, but he's been pretty wild here. That one's way out of the strike zone. 3-1 now, the count to Batty. And I would have to say, if this continues the way it's going, Lawndale is going to have to pull this pitcher at some point because he's very wild. 3-1. There's a little ground ball, and that's not what Batty wanted to do, but he's still going to get the run batted in as the shortstop, Banuelos, elected to go to first because it was hit kind of slowly. So that's the 4th run for El Segundo.
With 2 outs.
And that'll bring up Zach Stone.
Number 22, right fielder Zach Stone.
Stone is the right fielder today in a position that has been a little bit not the same player every game out in right field. Stone today, count quickly goes to 2-0 on Zach Stone. So most of the El Segundo batters have been working ahead in the count. Stone is going to get extra bases down the right field line, and he's going to cruise into second base with a double as he painted that right field line with an opposite field poke. And that's the 4th extra base hit of this first inning for the Eagles. That'll bring up Trent Mira.
Number 14, second baseman Trent Miera.
And here's the first visit from pitching coach, or I think this is the head coach actually, Greg Hancock. He's trying to settle his pitcher down as everything's kind of going south on him here.
The assistant coaches for El Segundo today, Greg McMullen and Chuck Schaefer. And for Lawndale, Stuart Swigum and Gary Rose.
Now the umpire's going to break up this little confab. That's Thomas Link, the home plate umpire. We got Tom Fitzpatrick out on the bases umpiring. 4-0, the Eagles lead it, and it's only the first inning. And they're threatening to score more. They got a runner on second with 2 outs. Trent Miera drives a high fly ball to right, settling under it is Kamitani, and he puts it away. So that's the inning, but not before the Eagles score 4 runs on 5 hits. And there was 1 man left at the end of a full inning of play. El Segundo 4 and Lawndale 0. So we head now to the top of the second inning. It's going to be Dylan Banuelos for Lawndale, the shortstop, facing Nigel Nootbaar. Banuelos with a .327 average as of, here's a little weak ground ball, the third. Up with it is Bell, and he makes a good throw. So 1 pitch, 1 out for the Eagles. Now we'll bring up the pitcher, Villegas.
Now batting, number 23, pitcher Danny Villegas.
That's interesting, is he bats right-handed, whereas he throws left-handed. He pitches left-handed. Now the umpire is insisting that Villegas take off some kind of a pendant that he had hanging around his neck, so he does that. Swing and a miss at a fastball. Villegas a little overmatched there. They're playing him pretty shallow in the outfield. He only goes 5'6". And a little weak ground ball. The first, up with it is the first baseman, Batty, feeding to the pitcher. So 2 very easy and quick outs for Nigel Nootbaar here in the top of the second. And that'll bring up Brandon Kamitani.
Right fielder Brandon Kamatari.
Left-handed batter. And he hits a little humpback liner in a very quick inning. That one right back to Nootbaar. And Nootbaar, I think, only threw like 4 pitches in that inning, or 3, very few pitches. Can't get faster than that. At the end of 1.5 innings of play, it's 4-0 El Segundo over Lawndale.
Fielder Eric Groenhagen.
So we head now to the bottom of the second, and it's the number 9 hitter in the order for El Segundo, Eric Groenhagen, the center fielder who takes a ball outside. Groenhagen, as of a couple of days ago, had a .294 average with a few RBI, just 3 RBIs. Now the count's even at 1-1 on Groenhagen. There's a pitch that bounces, well, I got to say about 5 feet in front of the plate. So Villegas, pretty wild. When he misses, he's really missing by a wide margin. Like that pitch right there, which was about a foot outside. So now the count runs 3-1 to Groenhagen. And again, another El Segundo batter ahead in the count. And he drives this one into left field, but it's right to the left fielder, Alvarado, who puts it away. So 1 out for the Eagles. And that's going to send us back to the top of the Eagle order, and it's going to be Grant Palmer who doubled back in the first.
Now batting number 7, shortstop Grant Palmer.
There's another pitch that bounces about 4 feet in front of the plate. 1-0. Breaking ball. Palmer swings and hits it to third. Garcia fumbles it, but he comes up with it and makes the throw. So 2 outs. That ball was hit pretty hard, and Garcia stopped it dead in front of him and picked it up quickly and made the accurate throw.
Now stepping up to
so that'll bring up Kaz Cousins.
Number 13, catcher Kaz Cousins.
Cousins 0 for 1. He grounded to first. 1-0 the count on Cousins. There's a pitch outside, 2-0. There's a breaking ball. Did he hold up the swing? I guess he did. So now the count is 3-0 on him. Cousins with a 343 average as of the most recent stats. And there's a pitch that almost hits him in the noggin. So base on balls issued by
with 2 outs, Cousins.
Villegas. That'll bring up Nootbaar.
Pitcher Nigel Nootbaar.
Nootbaar had a single and an RBI back in the first inning. Breaking ball, and it's pulled foul. Oh and 1. Well, it would certainly be a moral victory for Lawndale if they can get out of this inning without this half inning without allowing any runs. There's a runner running on the pitch and a ground ball, and it's going to go through. So a hit and run single to right center by Nootbaar, sending Kaz Cousins scampering to third as he was running on the pitch.
Nootbaar singles to put runners
that,
on the corner.
That worked beautifully as
number 6, left fielder Mike Pagan.
The ground ball was hit into the vacated hole as the second baseman was covering. Mike Pagan now will bat. He had a 2-run homer back in the first inning. Now he's got 2 runners on base. There's a breaking ball that misses. I was speaking with Greg McMullen before the game. He said this kid had a brother who had big-time power here some years ago. And he says he's already a good hitter, but he's going to just get better. He's just a sophomore, and this is his first year on the varsity. 2-0 the count to him. There's a breaking ball that stays up high. 3-0 now. So Pagan can just now look for a pitch in his happy zone. If he doesn't get it, he should just let it go by. There's a breaking ball that misses badly. So now Villegas starting to walk people. And the bases are loaded for David Bell.
Now batting for El Segundo, number 12, third baseman David Bell.
And Bell had that high average, 442 from a few days ago. There's a pitch that just misses really badly. So I'm not sure if Villegas' arm is okay or what's going on, because when he's missing by feet, not inches. There's a breaking ball that's pretty close. That one just missed, but according to the umpire, it missed. So 2-0. Now Bell really in a good hitting spot with the bases loaded and the count 2-0. Fastball that also misses. So now it's 3-0. So now Villegas up against it. He's a pitch away from walking in a run. And there's a strike. He gets a strike on that pitch. It looked outside from up here, but it might have been over the outside corner. 3-1 to Bell. And Bell drives one into left. Coming on is Alvarado. He can't make the catch. It gets by him, and this is going to send everybody scampering around the bases. And 3-run score on that little fly ball that, well, I'm not sure what to say about that one. I thought Alvarado was going to have a chance to catch it, but he did not. And 3 runs do score on the play. I'm going to say, well, not sure what to call that. I'm going to say maybe a single and a single and an error. Well, I'm not sure if he ever got his glove on it. He dove.
Now batting, first baseman
But
Eric Batty.
Now it's 7-0 is your score after that miscue in the outfield. He just got caught in between, did Alvarado, a little bit. And so Lawndale does not get out of this half inning unscathed. And the score now pretty much out of hand, 7-0, the Eagles. There's a ground ball, sharply hit to short. Up with it is Banuelos. The throw, I think, is a little late. And Batty beats it out. So an infield hit for Eric Batty, and that moves Bell to third.
Infield hit for Batty, bringing up number 22, right fielder Zach Stone.
So now that brings up Zach Stone, who doubled over the left fielder's head. The left fielder was playing pretty shallow, if I remember right. There's another pitch that bounces about 2 feet, 3 feet in front of the plate, and Batty just saunters on down towards second, stolen base. And there's a pitch that's just nowhere near the strike zone. So this kid, Villegas, is really struggling badly. He just does not have it. There's another pitch that bounces. Nobody advances this time. And you just wonder how much longer his coaching staff is going to leave him out there to absorb this punishment, because the score is going to climb into double figures for sure in this game. There's another one that bounces about 2.5 feet in front of the plate, so that's a walk to Stone. So now he's walked 3 in this inning.
With the bases loaded, 2 outs.
And
for El Segundo, number 14.
That'll bring up Trent Mira. Mira flied out to right field to end the last half inning. And he sends it out there again. He's going to fly out there again. But that's going to be the third out of the inning, but not before major damage is done once again to the Lawndale side. There were 3 runs scored, I'm going to say on 3 hits. There were 3 walks. There were a couple of wild pitches, all kinds of things in that inning. And at the end of 2 full innings of play, it's El Segundo 7 and Lawndale nothing. So we head to the top of the third. It's the bottom of the order for Lawndale. Alex Alvarado, the left fielder, facing Nootbaar. Nootbaar blows one by him, swing and a miss. Alex Alvarado, let's see if I can give you his average. He swings and misses again. He looks a little overmatched. No, I do not have any average. The only information I have on him is that he's very fast, but he doesn't get on much. And he's probably not going to get on here, as he looked really overmatched against Nootbaar's fastball. Let's see if Nootbaar just sticks with the fastball. It counts 1-2. Swing and a miss, and that's a strikeout. So Nootbaar did indeed stick with that fastball, and he blew away Alex Alvarado. So that's his first strikeout, and that'll bring up Manuel Garcia, the third baseman. Right-handed batter. Nootbaar with a breaking ball that gets over there over the inside edge, so 0-1. Swing and a miss on a fastball, 0-2. Another fastball that gets by Cousins, a little low, I think was. So that's count now 1-2. Swing and a miss down in the dirt. Cousins going to have to make the throw to first, which he does without any problem. So quickly 2 outs. And that'll bring up the catcher, Brian Gomez. Oh, this is Rick Mercado. I take that back. The designated hitter.
Base is empty, 2 outs. Now batting for the Cardinals, number 18, the designated hitter, Rick Mercado.
This kid looks like the biggest kid, at least in terms of sheer size. One of the few players who's got a home run on their team. And he hits a ground ball, and up with it is Bell. Very nice play. A little short hop play, and made the spinning throw. So very quick inning once again for Nootbaar. And at the end of 2.5 innings of play, it's El Segundo fully in control of this one by a score of 7-0 over Lawndale. Well, now we head to the
Stepping up to the plate for El Segundo,
bottom of the third, and it's the bottom of the order, Eric Gronhagen.
center fielder Eric Gronhagen.
We have some changes in the game for Lawndale. They have pulled Villegas, and they're throwing in Matthew Gadosh to pitch. His first pitch is a ball. Gadosh had a
number 12, Matthew Gadosh.
1-0 record with a 2.2 ERA as of whatever it says on the internet. I'm not sure when those stats were last updated. There's a little ground ball by Gronhagen. The throw is not in time from third baseman Garcia. So another infield hit for the Eagles. And Lawndale's not doing a good job of charging these balls. They're being a little too passive, letting these balls get to them.
Number 7, shortstop Grant Palmer.
Although that one could have been called an error because the throw was a little high. Here's another pitch that bounces about a foot in front of the plate. Let's see, we got the other change is that Villegas, the pitcher, went out and is playing right field. And I believe the right fielder moved to first. Kamatani is now on first base. And Chase Van Gerwen, I believe, is out of the game. I'll have to double check that for you. To see if he's anywhere out there. Tough to tell because the numbers are not visible to me now on their jerseys. There's another pitch bouncing in the dirt. So Gadosh, in terms of his accuracy, does not seem much better than Villegas, as now the count is 3-0 on Palmer, who is 1 for 2 today. There's a strike, so 3-1. He doubled back in the first at Palmer and grounded to third. In the second, he's getting his third at bat in as many innings. Fouls that one off, so now the count fills out to Palmer. And that one missed. I guess it must have been low. So runners on first and second very quickly for El Segundo. Nobody out here in the bottom of the third. El Segundo already up 7-0. I mean, the outcome of this game is not really in doubt. It's just a matter of how lopsided will the score be. Kaz Cousins drives a single into center. That's going to load up the bases. And now they're going to send, well, it's interesting. They decoyed there, and Gronhagen came home. So the runners sort of ran as if they were just going to be satisfied with one bag, and then McMullen sent him home, saying center fielder's arm's not going to be able to. So
the pitcher, number 20, Nigel Nootbaar.
So now we have first and second, nobody out, run in, 8-0 is your score, and Nigel Nootbaar gets his third chance. He's got a couple of singles and an RBI. Gadosh paints the corner. There's a strike. Gadosh is a little taller anyway. He's a bit more imposing than Villegas. He's not really a big kid, but 5'10" at least. Villegas was tiny, 5'6". There's a ball, 1-1. Runners on first and second. It's Cousins on first and Palmer on second. Nobody out. There's a pitch that misses. So 2-1. Fouled back, 2-2. There's a pitch bouncing in front of the plate. So now count is full, and we'll see whether Coach Cousins puts his runners in motion or not. They don't, and it's a pitch way outside and low, so hit the dirt. So now that's another walk, and now the bases are loaded once again. And they're loaded for cleanup hitter Mike Pagan, who's already got a home run and a couple of RBIs.
Now stepping up to the plate, number 6.
So he's licking his chops here, although he's got a different pitcher to deal with. There's a breaking ball that stays inside, 1-0. There's a strike, so 1-1, the count evens up to Pagan. They're playing him pretty deep. There's a stiff breeze here, blowing out to right field, as is often the case at Stevenson Field. The 1-1 way outside, 2-1. 2-1 is grounded to second. Rudolph over to Banuelos, and they get the double play. So a run scores, of course, but that's about the best outcome that Lawndale could have hoped for in those circumstances. And now the score is 9-0. But you just have a runner on third.
Now batting, number 12.
Kaz Cousins.
David Bell.
And here's David Bell, who hits a grounder to short, and that will be an error unless they call him out. Wow. I thought Bell was going to be safe, but Banuelos recovered to make the throw just in time. Close play at first, but there were a couple of runs scoring in that inning on a couple of hits. There were a couple of walks as well. And at the end of 3 full innings of play, El Segundo 9 and Lawndale nothing. We head now to the top of the 4th, and it's the top of the order. Chase Vangerwin for Lawndale. He grounded back to the pitcher his first time up, and a breaking ball is called strike on the outside corner, it must have been. There's a ground ball, and it's called foul. It was close. So 0-2 to Vangerwin. There's a fastball high and outside, 1-2. Pitch misses outside, 2-2 now. You can hear the wind whipping around. Here's the 2-2. Just missed, so now the count 3-2 on Vangerwin, who's fought back here in the count. And there's a walk. So that's the first base runner for Lawndale in this game. And from 0-2, Nootbaar lost Vangerwin.
Number 6, second baseman Stephen Rudolph.
Nootbaar was sort of playing with his finger there as if maybe something's bothering him a little bit on his right hand. That brings up Stephen Rudolph. There goes Vangerwin, the throw from Cousins, and they're going to cut him down. That was a good throw by Kaz Cousins. And Vangerwin, who was 24 out of 25 in stolen bases, gets nailed. One of the very rare times he's gotten nailed. So great throw by Kaz Cousins, and he got a good pitch to throw on. So 1 out. Pitch is high. 1-1 to Rudolph. Swing and a miss. 1-2. The 1-2 is a breaking ball, swung on and missed, but it gets by Kaz Cousins. He recovers to make a good throw to first base. So that's a strikeout. And the second time that Kaz Cousins, the second strikeout and the second time Cousins has had to make the throw to first to complete the strikeout. So that's interesting. So 2 outs, and now that'll bring up Narciso Aguilar. Aguilar lined out to short his first time, probably the hardest hit ball that they've had all game. Swing and a miss. Here comes the 0-1. Breaking ball over, so it's 0-2. Aguilar's got a decent average anyway. But this time the ball gets away again. Let's see. I don't think Cousins is going to be able to throw this guy out. Nope. He's on first base. So, not sure why these strikeouts are
with Aguilar at first,
befuddling the catcher, but
number 11, shortstop,
maybe there's so much movement on the ball that one of the things that I was talking to the coaching staff for El Segundo earlier, and they said that Cass Cousins specifically catches Nootbaar because the other catcher on the team can't. There's too many pass balls. So maybe there's something about the the movement on Nootbaar's pitches that is causing problems for the catchers. Now the Banuelos is the hitter now. And the count is 1-2 to Banuelos. So runner on first again. It's Narciso Aguilar. And there's a little fly ball, and it's a base hit into right field for Dylan Banuelos. Big try out there by Zach Stone, and that's the first hit of the afternoon for Lawndale. And one of the things that I found out is that if they did get a hit in this game, that Nootbaar would probably get pulled after maybe 4 innings. They don't want to use him up too much. I mean, if he had continued on with the no-hitter, they would have left him in there. But this might be Nootbaar's last inning of play, or he might pitch one more inning. But anyway, so much for the no-hitter. Now it's Danny Villegas. And he's in the hole 0-2 quickly. Nootbaar could have been out of the inning. But, and now we got a pickoff. Now we got a man caught at home. So I don't know what that was all about there. But El Segundo handled it with aplomb. 6-2, I think, is if you're scoring at home, something like that. As Aguilar got thrown out by a mile at home. So there was a hit in the inning. No runs scored at the end of 3.5 innings of play. It's El Segundo 9, Lawndale nothing.
Third base side, visit Pat Chance. Number 8, first baseman Eric Batty.
Bottom of the 4th inning, Eric Batty will hit for the Eagles against Matthew Gadosh. 0-1 the count to him. Gadosh, I don't know if I mentioned the stats. 1-0, 2.23 ERA. Now he hits Batty. Not that it hurt particularly because he doesn't throw all that hard. Well, easy for me to say. 22 innings pitched, 15 hits, but 21 walks. Ouch. So his control is not good. 23 strikeouts, 21 walks for Gadosh. So that'll bring up Zach Stone.
Right fielder Zach Stone.
Pitch is outside. Stone's the right fielder who almost came up with that catch, trying to keep the the no-hitter intact, but just couldn't quite do it. He almost gets hit there. Well, he did get hit. Boy, I thought that missed him, but I guess it must have just ticked his jersey. So now we got a couple of hit by pitchers. Along with everything else that's gone wrong for Lawndale.
Number 14, second baseman Trent Mira.
That'll bring up Trent Mira, who has flied out to right a couple of times. The first pitch to him is in the dirt, 1-0. Mira is the only player who really hasn't participated in terms of getting a hit so far, so he wants to get off that schneid here. There's a sort of high floating pitch, 2-0 now. Runners on first and second, nobody out. There's a pitch that's nowhere close. So 3-0. So all of a sudden, Gaydosh has lost what little command he may have had, and he's hitting batters and he's missing badly. Let's see if he can throw a strike here at 3-0. And he does. 3-1. Foul ball off the bat of Mira. 3-2 now. There's a little ground ball. The third, up with it is Garcia. He goes for the force, and they're saying no, they didn't get the force. The throw was a little wide, so that's going to be an error on the third baseman. He pulled his second baseman off the bag. I mean, that was an easy play. So now the bases are loaded for Eric Gronhagen.
Center fielder Eric Gronhagen.
And that's pretty bad because, you know, for Lawndale, one of the few opportunities where they, you know, get an easy play where you get at least one out, and they botched it. So now we're out of baseballs. Although they should have that one that was just, well, now here we go. So the bases are loaded. The Eagles already ahead 9-0 in this game. And we're only in the bottom of the fourth inning, and there's nobody out. So this is easily going to, you know, type of game that's going to get up to 15-0 if it keeps going like this, which it looks like it will. Gronhagen takes a strike from Gaydosh. What's Gronhagen done today? He's got 1 for 2, an infield hit. Swing and a miss. So now it's 0-2 on Gronhagen. He came sidearm there to Gaydosh, but missed. 1-2. One of the few batters he's been ahead on. They're playing Gronhagen kind of tight at first base. Got the first baseman in on the infield grass on the cutout, just inside the cutout. 2-2 now on Gronhagen. There's a breaking ball that gets by the catcher Gomez. Nobody advances. The backstop is pretty close to home plate here, so. It's a full count. And Groenhagen swings and misses. So that is the first out of the inning. And now we go back to the top of the order, and it's Grant Palmer who's going to bat with the bases loaded.
Now batting for the Eagles, number 7, shortstop Grant Palmer.
Palmer's up for the 4th time. He's 1 for 2 with a walk, and there's another pitch that gets by the catcher as it bounces, but nobody advances. 1-0. Gadosh didn't like that baseball, so asked for a new one. Grant Palmer with he played football. Two and 0 the count on him. He's got to be licking his chops here. He's got bases loaded. Gadosh hits the outside corner. 2-1. Again hitting the outside corner. 2-2. That one misses badly. Bounced about a foot there. The third baseman could have come home because the catcher had no idea where that ball went. But everybody stayed on their bags.
There's what?
So 3-2 the count.
Okay. Okay.
Here's the 3-2. And it's grounded sharply to third, and it's off of the third baseman's leg, and it goes over to the shortstop, but they're not going to be able to get anybody. So, not sure what to call that one. Perhaps another error on the third baseman as he's just not having much luck over there. And bases will remain loaded.
Now batting, number 13.
And that'll bring up Kaz Cousins. Now it's 10-0. And that one's driven into the gap. Well, no, it's to right field. And over there's Villegas, who drops the ball. Another error and another run. Villegas had that ball in his glove. It was an eminently catchable fly ball. So I'm going to call that E9. And another run scoring. And the wheels have fallen off completely, if they were ever on, for Lawndale here. He tried to make the catch one-handed, which was part of the problem, I think. And, you know, it is breezy out here, but still, you got to, you know, let's see. Are they going to pull him out of the game? Yeah, they're going to pull him out of the game. They're going to pull Villegas out of the game. And so the coaching staff not well pleased with that attempt.
Now into play right field, number 17, Rafael Montiel.
So they've thrown in Montiel to play right.
With the bases loaded.
Rafael Montiel.
Number 20, Nigel Nootbaar.
And so 11-0 is your score as the Eagles just all over Lawndale. Now it's Nootbaar up at the plate. And he's got a couple of hits and a walk. He scored twice. He's got an RBI as well. Bases are full of Eagles. And that one almost hits Nootbaar. He jackknifes out of the way. 2-0. And it's got to be a little dispiriting for Gadosh out there because he's made, you know, he could have a couple of outs in this inning. And instead, there's a foul ball. Well, he could be out of the inning, theoretically. but there's just the one out, the Groenhagen strikeout. There's a strike, so 2-2 now to Nootbaar. Nootbaar fouls that one off. He's batting left-handed. I'm trying to remember if I saw him bat right-handed earlier in the day. I think he's a switch hitter then. So another foul. There's a drive to center. Let's see if the center fielder can handle it. He can't. Aguilar just had it go right by him, and that's going to score 2 runs. And now Nootbaar's hung up between first and second. Let's see if they can execute the rundown, and they will. And now they got, oh my goodness, now they got, who's this, Cousins? They got Cousins as well. So that was kind of a goofy outcome for the Eagles there. 2 runners got hung up. In the first there was an error, E8, and 2 runs scored there. But then 2 runners got hung up, Cousins and Nootbaar. So tough to score there. I'm going to defer that scoring to later, but those were the second and third outs, both of those runners getting hung up. But there were 4 runs scored in the inning, and at the end of 4 full innings of play, it's 13-0 Eagles. So we head now to the top of the 5th, and it's Rafael Montiel who came in for Villegas, who was pulled when he made that error. So this is Montiel's first at bat. He's in the hole very quickly against Nootbaar, who's not messing around. 0-2. Breaking ball up the middle. This is going to find, well, it's going to be an infield hit. Nice try out there by Trent Mura, but it just had eyes, did that little bleeder up the middle.
With a runner at first. Now
So
batting number 7.
Kamitani will bat now for Lawndale. And he pops one foul. Let's see if anybody can get to this one. And it looks like it's going to be a play out there, and it is. Looks like Bell made a nice little catch on that pop-up. So foul pop out by Kamitani. And that'll bring up Alex Alvarado.
Now batting left fielder Alex Alvarado.
Now let's see what the call is there. It's a strike is the call. He went too far. The appeal went out to the umpire on the base paths, Fitzpatrick. He said there was a strike. That pitch is inside. 1-1 to Alvarado, who struck out his only time up. Two and one now, the count to Alvarado. Runner on first is Montiel. 1 out. Game out of hand completely. 13-0 Eagles. There's a strike. 2-2. Alvarado. Let's see if Nootbaar sticks with a fastball or. Well, no, it looked like a breaking ball and it just missed. There's a little foul pop-up, and it's out of play, so the count remains full. So the Eagles will improve to 12-12 and 3-3, so they'll be 500 all around. Lawndale's going to fall to 9-10, 0-6. Swing and a miss, so much for Alvarado. He strikes out for the second time. And let's see, that's Nootbaar's 5th strikeout I think I've got. And that'll bring up, let's see who we got now. Is this Manuel Garcia, I believe. Or is it Matthew Gadosh? I'm a little confused.
Number 12, Matthew Gadosh.
It's Gadosh. I think it's his first at bat. The count is 1-1 to him. There's 2 outs. There's a runner on first, and Nootbaar still in the game. This, I believe, this will be. I'll be surprised if he comes out for the 6th. I'll probably just pitch him this inning. There's already action in the El Segundo bullpen, so this is the last we'll see of Nootbaar out on the mound. There's a strike. Trying to get that number for you out. I think it's number 10. Taylor Dom, could that be? Swing and a miss, so that's another strikeout. And Nootbaar makes pretty quick work of Lawndale in that inning. They got a hit, but that's it. And it was in the infield variety. 13-0 your score after 4.5 innings of play here at El Segundo Rec Park. So now we head to the bottom of the 5th, and Coach Craig Cousins is going to start throwing in some of the reserves. Matt Binder will bat for Pagan. He rips one foul, 0-1. Binder, he's a senior, 6'2", about 170. There's a little soft pitch that misses, 1-1 to Binder. There's a pitch that's up high, 2-1 to Binder. 3-1 now. And that is called a strike. Binder kind of flinched away from it, but I guess it caught the inside corner, according to Thomas Link, home plate umpire. There's a pitch that misses outside, so Binder ends up walking. And that'll bring up, let's see who this is.
With Binder at first, now batting for the Eagles.
It's going to be David
number
Bell.
12,
Okay.
Third baseman David Bell.
He's 2 for 3 in tonight's game. He scored a run. Fouls one off, 0-1. There's a ground ball to short. Should be 2. Let's see. They get 1, but that's all they're going to get. Banuelos just did not charge that ball. And the shovel throw was a little weak as well. So they just get the force.
Bringing to the plate.
So
Number 8, first baseman Eric Batty.
Fielder's choice for Bell. 1 out. And it's going to be Eric Batty, who was 1 for 2 and was hit by a pitch as well. He was almost hit right there, but he jackknifed out of the way. Runner on first is Bell. 1 out. El Segundo 13, Lawndale nothing, and Batty hits one to the outfield that's going to drop in into short right, left center, short left center. So that's another hit for Batty. Another hit for the Eagles. And now let's see if they're going to see. Now we're going to have another sub coming in for Zach Stone. It looks like it's going to be McKenna.
Seth McKenna.
So all kinds of changes in a game that is just out of hand here. El Segundo cruising to a victory. Seth McKenna, as of a few days ago, was batting .278, but just 1 RBI, probably limited at bats. The first pitch is in the dirt and bounces away, but nobody advances. Everybody sort of knows that this backstop is very close to the home plate. McKenna drives one deep. That's way back. Let's see if this one's going to stay in the park. It will, just barely, but it's going to score a couple of runs. Well, it's going to score 1 run, I should say. So David Bell came around to score, and Batty ended up at third. A double off the bat of McKenna. And
number 14, Trent Mira.
Now it's Trent Mira coming up to bat with runners on second and third, and he wants to get into the act here. He has yet to have a hit, and I believe he's the only Eagle that has not had a hit. So he's looking to get into the action. He grounds to short. Banuelos up with the catch. Now they got a run. They got a runner run down, caught in the rundown, and that was McKenna, and he gets tagged out. So no hit again for Trent Mira. He's on first and the fielder's choice. And the rundown 6-5, I believe, if you're scoring at home. McKenna got thrown out. Got tagged out, I should say. And that'll bring up, is it Groenhagen or another change? No, we got another change. Well, we're going to have Bramson, it looks like. Well, let's see now. I don't even have this kid. Let's see. I do not even have this kid on my roster. Abramson.
Now batting number 19, Derek Abramson.
Anyway, the count is 1-1 to him. There he is. He's a junior, 6 foot, listed at 150. He looks like he weighs a little more than that. Runner on first. It's Mira. There's a pitch in the dirt, 3-1. Well, the score was 15-0, which is what it was the other day when these two teams played. But the problem is we got a couple of innings left here. Well, so who knows how high the score could go.
With 2 outs.
There was a walk.
With 2 outs, runners at first and second.
To Abramson.
Now batting for the Eagles, number 7, shortstop Grant Palmer.
Now we go back up to the top of the order, and Palmer's batting for the 5th time in 5 innings. He's batted once every inning. And he drives one to right field, and this one's over the right fielder's head, and this one's going to run up all the way up against the fence, and everybody's going to come around. Let's see. Well, everybody should come around, and they do. So 2 more runs scored as Abramson hustled home behind Mira, who just had to jog home, basically. It was a jiggity jog for Trent Mira, and that's a second double of the afternoon for Grant Palmer. And now the score is really getting kind of ridiculous. It's kind of like a football score. 17-0 is your score.
Now batting, number 15, Chris Gutierrez.
Now we have Chris Gutierrez coming in to hit for Cass Cousins. So everybody's going to play in this game, it looks like, or just about everybody for the Eagles. Gutierrez hits a little dying quail, and this one's trouble. It's going to drop in there, and a little flare out to right field, and that's going to drive in another run. Ouch. Big time hurting being put on the Lawndale Cardinals by the Eagles here. As that one was just a little blue pit, but they all count. 18-0 is your score here at El Segundo Rick Park, and now we have another
10, Taylor Dom.
Another substitution, Taylor Dom coming in for Nigel Newtbar, and I think he will go pitch as well because I saw him warming up. And Gadosh now doesn't have much on his pitches. He's just kind of tossing them up there. There's not much drive coming from his legs, not much velocity on his pitches. He's just kind of tossing them up there, and he's missing too. So Dom ahead on the count. There's a strike. There's a strike. So 2-2 the count on Dom. Runner on first, 2 outs. El Segundo has scored another 4 runs in this inning, or is it 5? The runner goes. The ball is hit to center, coming on, and not able to make the catch is Aguilar. And he makes a wide throw. Let's see if they're going to get Taylor Dom at second, and no. So Dom took the extra base as Lawndale sort of foolishly threw that ball around there.
With 2 outs, runners in scoring position. Now batting, number 9, Matt Binder.
So now we got Matt Binder, and now the Eagles have batted around here. This is the second time up in this inning for Matt Binder. The ball, 1 pitch, and it hits him. I think it clipped him. No, they're saying no. Well, it was over his head. Well, they might have to pull Gadosh out of there because he's totally lost it now. And the catcher's going to try and settle him down a little bit, but he just doesn't have anything left out there. 2-0 is the count on Binder, who walked to open up this inning, it seems like a half hour ago. And that pitch is called a strike. 2-1. Runners on second and third. I have lost track of the score, but 18-0 apparently. Runners are on second and third, so the Eagles, with a base hit, could go up 20-0. And this is the type of game that they should just call. Oh, look at that pitch. Just a little wide. My goodness, haven't seen anything like that. I might want to get this kid out of there. He's a little dangerous. Except he doesn't throw that hard, so. But, I mean, he missed by, I don't know, 5 feet there. He threw it behind the... Now, here comes the coach. I mean, you got to do something here. Get somebody in there who can pitch. I'm not sure why he's talking to the umpire. It's not the umpire's fault. I mean, you know, let's see if he's going to make some change on the mound. And I believe we are going to see some kind of change, as this kid's just totally out of gas. He's got nothing left out there. There's Taylor Dom. Well, I don't know. I'm not sure why it's such a long conversation. Maybe there's going to be a lot of changes. And it's just practically impossible to score this type of a game. So Gadosh just drops the ball on the mound. Now his coach is giving him a hard time for doing that. He says, wait till the replacement is out here and give him the ball. Don't just drop the ball on the mound and start walking off. Coach is giving him a talking to about that probably. Let's see who our new pitcher is going to be. Manuel Garcia, I think. There goes Gadosh looking a little bit, well, not a happy camper, I guess. So there's been a pitching change. We've got Manuel Garcia out there with a 1-0 record and a 3.39 ERA, according to the stats that I could pull off the internet. 10 innings pitched. There's a little ground ball off the bat of Binder, and there's finally the third out of that inning. So let's see. I think they scored 5. And that makes the score 18-0. El Segundo over Lawndale here as we head to the top of the 6th inning. There's your new pitcher for the Eagles, Taylor Dom. Staked to a 18-run lead, so there you have it. Hopefully he can throw some strikes.
Number 18, designated hitter Rick Mercado.
I'm confident he will. There's Rick Mercado, the DH. Grounds one foul, strike 1. Strike 2 on that foul ball. He went too far, so he struck him out on a breaking ball that Mercado could not hold up on. And that's going to bring up the top of the order. Van Gerwen, who is 0 for 1 with a walk. He reached on a walk. He got thrown out trying to steal. And there's a little flare that's going to be dropping for a base hit in short left. So Van Gerwen gets a single.
With a runner at first.
And that'll bring up Stephen
Number
Rudolph.
6, second baseman Stephen Rudolph.
Who is 0 for 2. And he hits it right back to Dom, who makes a nice throw to second, and not in time over at first. So 1-6 if you're scoring at home. And fielder's choice for Rudolph. That was close. They almost got him. They almost got him at first, but just a hair late. And now let's see.
Number 22.
Narciso Aguilar.
Narciso Aguilar.
Who is he's 0 for 2, and he pops it up out into left field. Settling under it out there is, well, it's not Pagan anymore, that's for sure, because he's out of the game, I believe. But it's Binder, and he made the catch, I do believe. So a quick inning for Taylor Dom, and at the end of 5.5 innings of play, it's El Segundo 18 and Lawndale nothing. So we are heading now to the bottom of the 6th inning. Now we've got another pinch hitter. Looks like Steve Sellens for David Bell. And he takes a pitch low and outside. There's a strike. Sellens grounds a high hopper to first, and the first baseman just completely sort of botched it. I guess, I don't know, he's claiming he lost it in the sun, but now he's going to put on his little shades, which he had very stylishly on top of his cap. I hate that little style thing. It's all over the major leagues, and it's
Josh Bornstein.
so another error for the Lawndale. That style has sort of percolated all over baseball. And there's Bornstein, and now this time the first baseman makes a good catch, but he throws it out into the outfield. Ouch. Just ugly, ugly, ugly. 2 errors by the first baseman in Kamitani, and just ugly. Just not pretty baseball to watch. I mean, all he had to do to get one out was just to take it to the bag. But I guess, you know, he tried to make a play and tried to, you know, start a double play. Maybe he shouldn't have been so ambitious. Now we got a pinch runner, it looks like. Who's going to sit down? Is it Sellens sitting down? No, Eric Batty sitting down, and we got a pinch runner. Let's see who that pinch runner is. Is it Pagan? No, I'm confused. Batty is in there. Anyway, there's so many changes, it's driving me batty. I can't keep up anymore. There's a drive to fairly deep, medium depth center field. Aguilar makes the play this time. It's a sacrifice fly as Sellens will score from third. So McKenna gets an RBI. And now we're 19-0.
Now batting number 33.
And
Ray
looks like
Johnson.
we're gonna get another pinch hitter. Trent Mira will be the only Eagle to not have a hit in this game. Well, at least out of the starters, as he is sitting down now. Ray Johnson's going to hit for him. We got Batty on first. 1 out. Johnson's looking for the signs. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know what the holdup is. The umpire is talking to the bench. Maybe did they pull somebody out of this game, or is there more changes? Well, home plate umpire anyway is over there talking to the Lawndale bench. Thomas Link is talking to the Lawndale bench about something or other. I think some of the changes. He can't keep up either. And okay, so now we're finally ready to go, and it's Ray Johnson. Well, I had him batting .261 with a home run and 4 RBIs as of a few days ago. None of these stats are exactly up to date. There's a strike. Garcia at least is throwing the ball sort of in the right zip code. He's not walking too many people. There's a ground ball sharply hit to third, and there's finally a pretty good-looking fielding play as they turn it 5-4 to 3, and that's the double play, and that's the end of the inning. They score 1 run to the Eagles. There were 2 errors in that inning, and a sacrifice fly. 19-0 is the score at the end of 6 full innings of play. So now we head to the top of the 7th.
Batting for Lawndale in the top of the 7th.
And
Number 11,
for Lawndale, it's
Dylan
going to be
Banuelos.
Dylan Banuelos. There you have the El Segundo bench. Pretty relaxed with this huge lead. Not much to worry about in this game. $19-0 is the score. Let's see. So that's 2 touchdowns, a field goal, and a safety. What can you say about a game like this? Not much, other than Lawndale's got a lot of work to do on their baseball program. They just don't have the players. They don't have the pitching. They don't, they just don't. They're not at the same level as the Eagles at all. Dom blows one by Banuelos. There's a called strike on a ball that looked outside, but I think the umpire also wants to move this game along. So anything close is going to be a strike. That was not close. So 1-2 to Banuelos, who has a hit, one of the only 3 hits that Lawndale has. He hits a high fly. Let's see if it's going to stay fair. No, it's foul, but Grant Palmer gets over there and makes a nice play in foul territory. So that's 1 out. And that'll bring up Rafael Montiel, I believe is the... that's who's
now
batting.
Number 17, Rafael Montiel.
Swing and a miss by Montiel. That one's outside from Dom. 1-1 to Montiel. This one's fouled straight back, 1-2. Dom has looked okay. He's, well, you know, with a 19-run lead, you're obviously just going to let them hit the ball and let your defense do the work. There's a ground ball. It's a long throw and a nice play on both ends. Batty scooping that up, and the long throw from Bell. So 2 outs. That was not an easy play, but the Eagles pulled it off.
Now batting number 7.
And the
Kamatani.
Cardinals are down to their last out, and it's Kamatani who had that rough last half of the inning, and he grounds a little slow ground ball up the middle and throw. Now this time they not quite able to pull it off as that ball got past the pitcher, and then Palmer couldn't make the strong throw accurately enough. It was in the dirt a little bit. I'm going to call that an infield hit. I don't know. It's could be called either way, but I think it's an infield hit. So.
Now batting number 2, Alex Alvarado.
And that'll bring up Alex Alvarado. There's a strike. 2 outs. Eagles in the lead 19-0 here. So this is the waning moments of this game. There's a pitch that just misses from Dom to Alvarado. 1-1 the count. There's a runner on first. That's Kamatani. There's another sharp ground ball to third. It squibs away from, and there's another, well, this one I'm going to call an error. I'm sorry. He had that one in his glove, and it just got out of his glove. It was hit fairly hard, so I don't know. That's it's a judgment call. I'm going to say E5.
First and second. Now batting for the Cardinals.
Bell had it, and
Manuel Garcia.
It got away from him. So now it's Manuel Garcia, and he hits a soft liner to short. They're going to try the tag play, and they apply it. And what's the call? They're going to say no. They're going to say he's safe. So now, all of a sudden, Lawndale has loaded the bases with 2 out. And it's the 9th place hitter, which is it's Mercado.
Number 18, designated hitter Rick Mercado.
So this is the biggest threat that Lawndale has managed to mount in this game. They've loaded the bases. They've got their DH Mercado up there, who takes a strike. 0-1. He's a big kid, so if this kid gets a hold of it, it could go places. They're playing him a little too shallow as far as I'm concerned. And he swung at a bad pitch, so 0-2. They're playing him very shallow in center. Who is that, Abramson out there? They're playing him shallow in right as well. This kid's got some power. You can tell he's a big kid. Here comes the 0-2. Breaking ball, swing and a miss, and that's the end of the game. So the shutout remains intact. Taylor Dom closes it out, and the final score, rather lopsided, 19-0 in favor of the El Segundo Eagles. They had 15 hits, 19 runs. They were aided by 6 errors on the part of Lawndale in a game that was just not competitive on any level. So there you have it. The Eagles even out their record, and 12-12, 3-3 in league, and move on to tougher games, I'm sure, than this one. So once again, your final score: El Segundo Eagles 19, Lawndale Cardinals nothing. From Stevenson Field, I'm Diego Sanchez. Good afternoon.